What is up, my people? We're going to do the review for Unit 1 Psych 2 Personality Theories and Assessment. And I got to check every now and then to make sure this dang thing is not stopping my recording when I'm trying to do it. So I'm going to try to go through this in under 10 minutes. We'll see what happens. So, first topic was personality theories, and I gave you this situation about some person who's completely random, is not meant to be representative of anybody that you may or may not know or are yet to meet in your life. But talks about how this dude Dave changed from a very shy, introverted, friendly, and laid-back kid to a more extroverted, outgoing person that's still friendly but began to be more disagreeable to her people during tense situations and conflicts. Has become kind of a perfectionist. So there's a lot of different things here that you can talk about for all of these, and you don't need to do an all-encompassing analysis. Just a couple of concepts would be good. Psychodynamic, obviously, you want to talk about something related to the unconscious. Whoops conscious drives that motivate Dave. So you can do any analysis of the id, ego, and superego. So maybe, and you can pick one of those traits, right? So like maybe I'm so conscientious because I have an overactive superego that really wants to repress my id from doing too many terrible things. So my ego compromises by kind of making me very conscientious. That could be something. You could also use a defense mechanism. So maybe I'm compensating for something by being very conscientious and detail oriented to better deal with my emotional, the mess that is my dumpster fire, that is my emotional state, or something like that. You also could do some kind of Jungian archetype. So maybe over time, as I got older, I started to develop a persona that I use as like my mask to show the world, and it's not my true self. Um, uh, Maybe I met my wife, and she's like the anima or animus to myself. The complementing features. So Jungian's a little weird, but that's how they developed Myers Briggs, or a way of one thing that influenced Myers Briggs, I should say, not how they developed it exactly. But that anything related to these would be good topics. Here, you obviously have OCEAN, the acronym. I'm completely demonstrating issues of openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So if you say it in something related to those terms or describe a couple of those traits, you'll be in good shape. Social cognitive, there's a lot of things we can talk about. We can talk about reciprocal determinism and how maybe my environment is, why did I say my? Dave's environment is impacting him. And how his behavior is related to his external environment and also his cognition or his understanding. It makes a little triangle of reciprocal determinism. You could also talk about behaviorism as part of social cognitive. So rewards and punishments externally from the environment. Those are going to be things that are related to it. Are we still recording? Perfect. Okay. You could also talk about locus of control. It seems like I'm demonstrating a pretty external locus of control in this situation based on all the things that I've been talking about. It's been pretty consistent throughout Dave's life. Yeah, so anything like that, self-efficacy will be another concept to think about, how that's being demonstrated in this situation. And then humanistic is all about self-concept and self-actualization. So it seemed like as Dave got older, maybe he became a little more self-actualized, maybe developed a better sense of self-concept. Even though some of those personality traits changed, that could be an example. Oh, I didn't do the however when he's home, he takes a quiet approach around his young child. That's another example of reciprocal determinism and behaviorism. So those are all things you could talk about in that one. Not exhaustive and not all completely necessary. Just a few of those things would be great. How someone's situation environment can influence their personality. I kind of explained that when I was talking about social cognitive. So two of the following terms: self-efficacy, when someone's in an environment where they feel like they are able to do things and the things they want to do will actually lead to the outcomes that they want. That is a high level of self-efficacy, whereas in certain environments, people might not feel that way and have a sense of low self-efficacy. So they might act differently because of that. Locus of control is the same type of idea, but it's really about like, what do you think is impacting what you do the most? Is it stuff that you're internally doing? It's an internal locus of control, or is it the environment that's impacting you more? And that's an external locus of control. Now that I said that, I think when I talked about locus of control up here, I might have mistakenly said external locus of control when I meant internal locus of control. So if you're questioning that, that's probably what was happening. Reciprocal determinism, it takes a little while to explain that, and I feel like I explained it already. So hopefully you understand that. That would be like in a given situation, a certain environment, that's going to impact my behavior, which is also going to impact my interpretation of how I'm behaving in that environment, and they all kind of work. Interpretation of environment and the environment itself. Similarity and difference between Jungian and Freudian. They all deal with unconscious drives. The big difference, though, is that Jungian is more about archetypes and certain types of people and how it's kind of a collective mythology that everybody kind of acts out to a certain extent. And Freud is much more related to like sexual development and the id, the ego, and the superego, and dividing it that way. The id is kind of similar to the shadow in Jungian personality psychology, and the self is more akin to like the unconscious, and then you've got like the ego, which is your like persona or your mask that you show people. For the sake of time, let's see how we're doing. Okay. I might skip these. If you have questions about the defense mechanisms, let me know. But it's just applying to the situation. Humanistic concept of incongruence. So this is basically about how someone might be demonstrating that they're not the person they want to be, that their real self is not their ideal self, and they need to find ways to match that incongruence and create congruence. So maybe that issue is either I come to terms with the fact that I'm not 200 pounds of solid muscle. Sorry, that Dave is not 200 pounds of muscle, and they're okay with that. And then they are able to bring their ideal self down to their real self, or just keep hitting the weights and pumping the trend. And then maybe eventually they'll get to 200 pounds of muscle and be happier. I can only hope. Values, advantages, limitation, disadvantages of different types. So interview face valid. Obviously, there's not an issue of misinterpreting questions because they're all face valid. They're usually done by a professional. They allow for a little more open-ended response. Disadvantage is the interviewer might be biased. The person might answer differently if they know specifically what they're asking about, and they might not want to show certain parts of their personality. It can be time consuming. Behavioral assessments are really good at getting away from that internal bias in question answering and only seeing observable features. That is a limitation as well, though, because it's only what's observable. You don't really get a lot of information about the person's thinking about themselves. Another issue is people tend to act differently when they know they're being watched, but it is in the natural environment, so that might give you a little bit more valid result. And personality inventories are quick. They're very convenient. They can be project. Hi there. How's it going? Good. What's up?
I have a few people that wouldn't mind looking at what you got on the front of the wall as far as the TV and stuff.
Yeah, sure. Let me pause what I'm doing. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Yep, it's okay. No problem.
We won't be long, but
it's okay. Okay, sorry about that. Somebody came in to look at something in my room. Personality inventories, they're very quick, convenient. They can sometimes do a good job of hiding what they're studying, which can be helpful for interpretation. But again, that's a limitation of them being very open to interpretation. And also, there's a lot of issues when you're doing a test like that of reliability and validity, which you're going to need to know about. Difference between projective and objective is that a projective test asks open-ended questions. These are generally related to interviews, questionnaires, and personality inventories. Keep in mind that personality inventories are different from questionnaires and interviews. Those are ones you do like with a psychologist where they're face valid. They're very like specific to what they're asking. And then personality inventories are like the common personality test that you would take. So objective is going to be where you're kind of like the big 5 personality trait test, where you're going to be kind of rating yourself on a continuum of things, or you have a select amount of answers. It's not objective, meaning objective like not open to interpretation. It means objective as in you only have a certain continuum or spread of answers that you can answer. This one I'm going to leave open to you. It's up to you. You just got to know that reliability relates to whether or not the test results would be replicable or reproducible, and validity is about whether or not it's testing what it's trying to test, and there's different types of validity and reliability. So if you have any questions, let me know, but hopefully that was useful for you for a review. So I'm going to stop recording now, and I will talk to you later.